Well, of the 1.2 million solo parent families in Australia, 78% of these are led by single mums, many of whom are struggling to make ends meet. Between the gender pay gap and the motherhood penalty, it's no surprise women are economically worse off after a separation.
In fact, whether or not a couple is married, it can take females up to 5 years to financially recover from a breakup. So what can you do to get your money back on track and survive a split? For more, we welcome back financial advisor and author Helen Baker. Hi, lovely to see you.
Hi, Helen.
If someone's going through a separation, where is the best place to start? Because there's so much going on at that moment.
There is a lot. So you want to get control and you want to stop the leakage. So if you think about debts, you're both responsible for all debts. So you want to start looking at your credit cards, start looking at your offset account with your loans, shutting down loans, all those sorts of things. Set up your own bank account with your own PIN number, protect your passwords, all those things. Also look at your super. If you left it to your partner, you probably want to look at changing that, and also your will. So update everything.
Right. Update everything. When it comes to having a roof over your head, what is there to consider? Because in a lot of cases there's a family home involved.
This is one of the big tough areas because we're often attached to the home, and sometimes it does make sense to stay in the home, but often we sacrifice the super and the investments and other things to maintain the home. When it comes to repairs or going on a holiday, people can't afford it. So maybe you need to downsize, relocate, look at being closer to your family and your relatives. You might even move into an investment property that you both had together, but there are some capital gains tax implications down the track, so you've got to know your numbers.
Going from a dual income household to a sole earner can mean spending and investing looks very different. It almost goes without saying, but in the storm, it's hard to see all of this.
Yeah, it is hard because you're moving from two incomes supporting one home in retirement, so you lose what we call the economies of scale. So you need to map out what your spending's going to be, and if you have children, map out what that is, because you've got to bargain off for child support and those sorts of things as well. But you might be entitled to some family tax benefit and things that you weren't entitled to before.
So make sure you look into that. Yeah. Overcoming the emotional impact of a breakup can be difficult. Is there can be some silver linings to being financially independent?
Yeah, sometimes in a relationship you have somebody who's a spender and someone's a saver, and you might not even have the same goals. So it does give you the opportunity to start doing what you want and actually make things happen yourself.
Okay. There's help at hand, right? There's plenty of resources around this now.
Yeah, I think that's why I wrote the book on the divorce, because you need to understand what these issues are before you sign on the dotted line. But you need legal and financial advice, not just family and friends. They're helpful, but things change, legislation changes. You want to get the right advice. Avoiding a mistake is key.
Yeah, and what about mediation? Mediation can help. I know you can do that like for counselling, but what about for financial as well, right?
Yes, yeah. And it's a nice way to do it rather than the Mexican standoff. But again, you want to be prepared to know what you're going in for. What does this look like when you get out? Am I going to have to sell something? And what's the cost of that? Making sure that you stepped up and made sure you got the right assets.
Okay,
great to see you this morning. Thank you for coming in.
For more useful advice from Helen Baker, her latest book is called Money for Life, and the book is out now.